The gym leaders in the Pokemon series all have something in common. They all have a specific type. Not that kind of type. A Pokemon type. All the gym leaders, as well as the Elite Four and even some of the champions, build their teams around a certain type. I'm sure you've all probably been asked this question before, but if you were a gym leader in the Pokemon series, what type would you want to be? This is a question I've put a lot of thought into over the years, and for me, there's only one clear answer. The ground type. Now, I actually discovered that ground was my favourite type rather than choosing it. If you watched my video about favourite Pokemon, you will know that my top 2 favourite Pokemon are Gliscor and Krookodile, which are both ground types, and that got me thinking. There are actually quite a lot of cool ground types out there, so I thought it would be a brilliant idea to put together this ground team that I would use if I was a gym leader in the Pokemon series. The first member of my team is Gliscor. Who would have guessed, right? Not like it's in my profile picture, in my banner, and I've been open about it being my favourite or anything. But anyway, yes, it's Gliscor, and the best place to get a hold of one was in Legends Arceus. I made my way over to the Coronet Highlands, because over in the Primeval Grotto area, you can find Gligar in abundance. So I snuck up on some of these little bats, and took one against his will. But our time on Legends Arceus doesn't stop there, because I still needed to evolve it into Gliscor, which means I needed to get myself a Razorfang, and the best way to do this was to catch many more Gligars until one of them dropped one. After eventually getting the much needed Razorfang, I was able to evolve Gligar and officially get the first member of my team. The second member of my team is no other than Krookodile. Again, one I've been open about liking, no surprises there, and the way I got this was by taking a trip to Galar. I headed towards the Pot Bottom Desert in the Isle of Armor. I'm pretty sure I ran into fully evolved Krookodiles here, but for the purpose of catching a Pokemon and raising it from a baby, a level 60 baby, I went for the base Sandile. Also, it was the first thing I ran into. I started hurling balls at it because I didn't have a False Swiper, and it just wasn't staying. So I decided to damage it just a little, and so I went and found this Sandile, and started hurling balls at it. I got myself the Sandile that was ready to evolve into the mighty Krookodile. Before I put away my copy of Pokemon Sword, there was still one Pokemon I needed to acquire in the Galar region. I needed to get myself a Flygon. More specifically, a Trapinch to evolve into a Flygon. I looked at where to find a Trapinch, and fortunately for me, you can find them in Route 6, just west of Hammerlock. However, unfortunately for me, in Pokemon Shield, the version I do not own, the spawn rate for Trapinch is 5%. In Pokemon Sword, the version I did own, the spawn rate for Trapinch is a measly 1%. 1 singular percent. There are easier ways I could have got a Flygon, but I'm devoted to the content. So after getting the Trapinch, I actually found out that there was a Flygon in my box from when I completed the dex that I could have just used to breed. And yeah, I'm very smart. Now, Trapinch is an overworld spawn, which comes with a myriad of other issues. One being that in order to effectively hunt for it, I found myself going back and forward between Hammerlock and Route 6 in order to reset the spawns. Another issue I had with trying to track down this orange little snapping turtle thing was Dugtrio, and this was for a number of reasons. Reason number 1, Dugtrio, when sticking out of the grass, looks a little bit like a Trapinch, due to the rounded top and it being an orangey brown colour. Reason number 2, if I accidentally ran into one of these triplets of dicks, which happened a good amount of the time, most of them have Arena Trap, which means I can't run away. So I was forced to kill these dicks every time. I spent hours and hours travelling between Hammerlock and Route 6, knocking out Dugtrios left, right and centre, until eventually this elusive, evasive, Fables Trapinch showed up. So I caught it, and that was Flygon ticked off the list. The next Pokemon I need to acquire in my quest for my ultimate ground team is a Pokemon from my favourite region, Sinnoh, and this Pokemon is Torterra. Being a starter Pokemon, you can't find Turtwig in the wild, unless you have Scarlet and Violet DLC, which I do not. But hey, I literally got the game this year, okay? I haven't got around to it, leave me alone. But luckily for me, I have a copy of Shining Pearl, where I didn't choose Turtwig, but having that game registered with Pokemon Home gives you all 3 of the Sinnoh starters. So I got that Turtwig and bred it so I could get a brand new, fresh little turtle. I could have done the breeding process in any game, but being a Sinnoh Pokemon, I thought it would be rather fitting to do it in Shining Pearl. So I got on my bike and prepared myself for the action-packed thrill ride of a sightseeing adventure, where I got to see Solaceon Town, Route 210, Solaceon Town again, Route 209, Solaceon Town, Route 210, Solaceon Town, Route 209, Solaceon Town, Route 210. Oh hey, look, a turtle. And now to take a trip to the Paldea region for my final 2 ground type Pokemon. The first of which will be continuing the starter trend, because the next one is Swampert. Swampert was my choice of starter when I played through Alpha Sapphire, and I also shiny hunted it. Again, this is one I needed to breed for. but I happen to have a Mudkip in my Pokemon home. As there isn't a Switch game set in Hoenn, I chose to breed this one in Paldea, but to at least try and stick to some sort of theme, I went and hatched it at Castle Royale Lake, seeing that Swampert is part water. I like Mudkip. And now for my final Pokemon to go on my ultimate ground type team. When talking about ground types, there's always one Pokemon that comes to mind. It's very powerful, has a lot of aura, is used by the best trainer in the whole series. It is, of course, Quagsire. Did I get you? Did you believe me? It's actually Garchomp. No ground type team is complete without Garchomp. I have to make Mummy Cynthia proud. Gible is available in Area 0, where all of the Paradox Pokemon reside, so I made my way over to the Great Crater of Paldea and went down to station number 3. After exiting the station, I went into the underground cave part where you can find Gible and Gabite, but I was only interested in getting a Gible, so that I could raise it myself. With Gible being caught, I had officially caught all 6 of the base forms for the Pokemon on my ultimate ground team, excluding Gliscor because it was easier to evolve it over a Nation's Arceus. So now all I needed to do was transfer them all over to one game to evolve them all. There are many ways that I could evolve these Pokemon. I could go through the grueling process of grinding levels and earning all of the experience necessary for these beasts to evolve, or I could just shove a bunch of XP candies down their throats. Now with all of my Pokemon fully evolved, I have my ultimate ground type gym leader team. We have Gliscor, the edgy bat, a ground and flying type, a decent type combo, and my channel mascot, and quad weak to ice. Next up is Garchomp, a ground dragon type, a pseudo legendary, one of the best ground types around, owned by one of the loves of my life, and quad weak to ice. The other ground dragon type on the team, because I'm clearly the best at team balancing, is Flygon. Very cool design, very cool Pokemon, and it's my favourite colour, and it's quad weak to ice. Moving on to the first of the 2 starter Pokemon on my team, we have Torterra, a ground and grass type, one of the starters of my favourite region, as well as just being an awesome Pokemon, and it's also quad weak to ice. For the first instalment of Pokemon that won't get one shot by a cold breeze on this team, we have Krookodile, a ground dark type, one of the few Pokemon to be known for wearing sunglasses, making it the coolest croc in Unova. And finally, we have Swampert, a ground water type, up there with one of the coolest starters around, as well as having a great type combo. It's not quad weak to ice, but it is quad weak to grass. So there you have it. That was my ground type team if I was a gym leader or Elite Four in the Pokemon series. What type would you be if you were a gym leader? And what Pokemon would you have on your team? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in watching me actually turn this team into a semi-competitive team with EV spreads and proper movesets and items, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because in the future, Brad over at the Driftvale Dude channel is going to be making his own gym leader team, and we're going to have an epic battle. I would like to give you a rough estimate on when we're doing that, but it all depends on when Brad decides to make his team. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.